sagen wir 12?
Just like before sunrise starts with the video.
Okay, wir treffen uns und dann trinken wir was. Ja, okay, super. So, bis dann, ciao.
And in Before Sunrise, this is where Jesse and Celine share their first kiss. So it's a really big deal for us, and as you can see, it's a beautiful view. We're seeing the entire city of Vienna, and it's gorgeous, and we're going to enjoy that now. So enjoy some information about other stuff while we take in the sights. What?
Give us a kiss.
Mwah.
Okay, so here we are on one of the trams.
One of the what?
Trams.
There you go.
One of the public transportations here in Vienna that actually stays above the street. And this is a more updated version than the one we saw in Before Sunrise. It's still pretty cool, because instead of having to be underground and missing everything, you can actually see everything. And it's supposed to be a really nice way to get around and see Vienna.
So we're going to do that now, and we'll be back shortly with some more pop culture pilgrimage.
Awesome.
Alright, we're on the next stop on our pop culture pilgrimage, and we are in the Café Spurl in Vienna. This cafe was built in 1880, and it's been standing ever since. And it was pretty prominently featured in the Richard Linklater film Before Sunrise. This cafe, in fact, one of these tables that CarrieLynn and I are seated at right now, is where Jesse and Celine were flirting and having like a mock phone conversation, and kind of in the process admitting their true feelings for one another. It's a beautiful moment in the film, and it's a beautiful cafe. We'll have some footage of the cafe that you can see on the inside. And we just had a lovely Viennese meal that filled us up, both up pretty well. So we're gonna head out on our next excursion to our next stop on our pop culture pilgrimage. So please come along with us. Another location for our pop culture pilgrimage, the church that you see behind me here, and again, I'm probably going to butcher this name, but it's the Maria am Gestatt Church. This was featured in the film Before Sunrise. Jesse and Celine visit this church and have a brief conversation about life and the universe and everything, as they do in the rest of the movie. So we're going to pop inside and take a look, but we'll give you some more information about the church while we go in there. So for this stop on our pop culture pilgrimage, CarrieLynn and I just had a very lovely lunch at Klein's Cafe, which you can see behind me. This cafe was featured in the film Before Sunrise. This is where Jesse and Celine have a late night snack with each other, and they meet a palm reader who tells them that they're made of stardust, and tells Jesse that he's still learning, and Jesse gets a little he bristles a bit at that and gets a little indignant about it. But it's a lovely little cafe. We'll show you some stuff from the interior, even though they didn't go inside in the film, but we'll show you a little bit more of the cafe and give you some more information about it in just a moment here. And for the final stop on our pop culture pilgrimage here in Vienna, CarrieLynn and I are on, and I'm going to butcher this name again, but it's Zolamtsteg Bridge. This is where Jesse and Celine first enter Vienna, and they meet two German gentlemen who they ask for directions. They ask, what's fun to do, and the two gentlemen try to get them to come to their play, which they're doing later that night, where one guy's playing a cow, as he says. But this is featured very prominently in Before Sunrise. Alright, so we are wrapping up our pop culture pilgrimage in Vienna. We're currently on the banks of the Danube right now. It's behind us there. And we've seen some really cool sights from some really good movies.
And it's interesting because we went to sites for Before Sunrise, and of course the whole conceit of Before Sunrise is those characters are just like walking around for several hours before sunrise. But there's one place that we didn't go to, the Friedhof der Namenlosen or something like that, and basically it's the the cemetery of the unnamed. But that's like a 2-hour walk away from our hotel, and it'd be like a 3-hour walk away from central Vienna. So we didn't go there, and I'm not really sure how they went there. So kind of trickery going on.
Yeah, it's that sort of magic of cinema and how it can compress time and space in a lot of ways. And that's exactly what was going on here. And I think it's also interesting, and the fact that so many of the sites that we have seen here in Vienna have a connection to history, but they also have a connection to film history.
Yeah.
So it's like it's bringing us to these different levels of connecting us with the history from the film, and then that's connecting us in turn to the actual history. So we found that really fascinating and really interesting in a lot of ways.
I also think that if Jesse and Celine didn't eat at Cafe Sparrow or Klein's Cafe, they really missed out, because there's really good food at both of those places.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see the sort of dichotomy between those two cafes. Cafe Sparrow is more of a traditional type of a cafe, because it's been around since 1880, and I don't know how long Klein's Cafe has been around, but it's got more of a, I don't want to say modern, but it's got more of a bohemian kind of contemporary feel to it. It feels like more like a cafe that we would think of in America. You're sitting there, you're smoking, you're having coffee, whatever. So that was kind of interesting to see the distinction between those two.
Yeah.
But thank you for joining us on our pop culture pilgrimage. Join us for our next one when we visit some sites in Prague in the Czech Republic. And until then, we wish each and every one of you the best.